I live in Will County, Illinois. Will County is one of the collar counties of Cook County. In other words, it's part of the Chicagoland area. If you drive just a few minutes west of my house, as a matter of fact, if you go through my town, by the time you get to the other side of town, you will have passed over into Grundy County. Will County is one of the Chicagoland area counties and is blue. Grundy County begins the extreme redness of counties heading west and, of course, then again south. Grundy County is extraordinarily Republican. So most of the elected officials in Grundy County are Republicans. And some of them, apparently, are not that fucking intelligent. Like this gentleman, Joshua Harris. Grundy County Board at Government is his job. Studied at Southern Illinois University, studied at Joliet Junior College. He's a Grundy County board member. The reason why I'm calling this particular person into question is because he posted the statistic of how many abortions have been performed since 1973, since Roe v. Wade. And he says here, and I quote verbatim, "I am not arguing the issue by posting this, but given the fact we live in times of constant, constent, world conflicts, conflicts, constant, spelled correctly, go figure that one out, constant talks of World War III, I just would how many more U.S. soldiers we would have had in regards to our national defense if this statistic wasn't true." So you're assuming that everybody that would have been born had they not been aborted would have been, what, a soldier? Or no, you're probably not. You're probably assuming a percentage of it. Are you honestly suggesting that we breed to create more soldiers? Now, you would think that on the surface, this would be one of the dumbest things that any local elected politician could post, but no, he outdoes himself. Here, he wants to go against the Constitution of the United States of America and follow Hungary's lead in banning LGBTQ plus pride events in public. He doesn't want you to be able to have a parade, host a party, show your pride in being a member of the LGBTQ plus community in public because he doesn't like that. So fuck the Constitution and fuck your First Amendment rights, I guess. Here, he posted a video of AOC giving a speech and having her arm up and moving it back and forth while speaking, and he says she's a bartending Nazi. Apparently, he has a problem with other people being in non-traditional relationships that aren't like his. Here, he's celebrating some of the last Confederate veterans, giving the rebel yell. Once a rebel, always a rebel. Here he says there is no such thing as a trans child, which will come as a shock to all of the trans children in the world. Here he says his life just got a little bit better because Rosie O'Donnell moved to Ireland. I would love to know how Josh's life got better because a celebrity moved out of the country. It's not like she lost her voice or her platform. Here he helps take up the cause of former failed and disgraced Governor Rod Blagojevich, a Democrat who most of these people hated until Donald Trump became friends with him. Keep in mind, Rod Blagojevich blackmailed a children's hospital and tried to sell a U.S. Senate seat. But hey, give him that praise, Josh. Here's a video he posted of Reagan saying if fascism comes to America, it will come in the name of liberalism, not realizing that A, fascism is a right-wing ideology, B, Trumpism aligns perfectly with all 14 tenets of fascism, and C, Ronald Reagan also said things like immigrants are part of our country and gave amnesty to 3.5 million immigrants. Ronald Reagan also said things like Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security, I should say, is not part of the general budget. And if we just leave it alone, it's fine. You don't want to play those clips, do you, though, Josh? Here, He posts an article from a local radio station talking about a massive drug bust in the next town over, Morris, which is in his county. Yet another dame illegal immigrant out to destroy American society. But just remember the words of Mayor Johnson and J.D. Pritzker. It's J.B. Pritzker, you fucking idiot. We're a welcoming city and a welcoming state. Except here's the problem, homie. He wasn't an illegal immigrant. He was a guy from California. A Bakersfield, California man could spend the rest of his life in prison for allegedly dealing massive amounts of drugs in Grundy County. Nowhere does it mention his immigration status or the fact that he's an immigrant of any kind. He's a guy from Bakersfield, California. But because he has a name that doesn't sound American, Tarath Singh, he must be an undocumented immigrant, right? Of course, we got to sprinkle in a little Putin propaganda because Lord knows the Republicans these days are all in favor of Vlad. Here, he says he's absolutely right when posting an article from Fox News about something Trump said in his speech, when Trump said, "Our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you," said the man with bronze tanner and a comb-over covering his bald spot. And then here he is again posting, and I quote, "A salute to our heroes who wore the Southern gray." And of course he throws in some lies and propaganda about George Floyd's family when he posts this. George Floyd's family got nearly $50 million just 4 years ago. Last week they listed $1,900 in assets on a welfare application. Because, black people have to be on welfare, of course. The problem is, that's bullshit. Fact check. Satirical meme said George Floyd's family listed $1,900 in assets on a welfare application despite $50 million payout. Did the story that George Floyd's family listed $1,900 in assets on a welfare application despite receiving $50 million 4 years ago originate on an actual news site? No, that's not true. A meme making that claim originated on a Facebook page with a satire disclaimer. The owner of the page is known for tricking conservatives into liking and sharing made-up content. The meme appeared in a Facebook post published on March 10th, 2025 on a page titled America's Last Line of Defense with a comment that read, "These people stood on the White House lawn with Biden watching and conned America into believing George Floyd wasn't a criminal. Now they're broke and looking for the taxpayer to bail them out." Yeah, that tracks. So, to recap, he falls for bullshit satirical memes because it fits his racist point of view. He thinks that anybody with a non-American sounding name must be an undocumented immigrant, an illegal immigrant in this country causing harm. He praises the Confederacy and Vladimir Putin, and he thinks that we should be breeding more kids in order to restock our army. Just a few things that this gentleman, who is an actual elected official here locally, has put on his social media page. If that doesn't scare the living shit out of you, Grundy County, I don't know what does. Then again, you guys were dumb enough to make Jason Helland a judge, so